Again, Sundowns pierce forward, and we see counter-attack football. Great save.
That's a great save from Vuma. He spreads himself well. It's a great build-up to be able to get Reyners in onto his left foot. He didn't do anything wrong there, but it was just the keeper came off his line on time, made himself big, and I can understand the reaction from him.
Look at that brilliant moment there, and you can see what it means to the goalkeeper. Vuma knows that that was massive and turns out to be massive in how the dust settles in that encounter. However, and this is something that you touched on a little bit as we welcome Ace back into the studio here. Ace, I know you were cooking in the background. We can't wait to get your contribution. You ready?
No, you know, Thomas, the level of respect that we have for our viewers means that if there's a contentious issue, if I have to arrive here 30 minutes later than the commencement of the show...
You weren't late. You were here.
I was here. But we needed to make sure that the most contentious issue was treated properly. And that's what we're bringing.
So we treat...
it's a galera. Spice. Aroma, pepper, everything thrown in. We're ending the discussion tonight.
Okay.
All right. We can't wait, because it took him extra time of extra cooking to make sure that he's going to give us exactly what you want and answers on contentious decisions that took place over the weekend. Let's talk the goal that comes now. Set-piece goal. Mokoena with a thunderbolt of a strike from the free kick. It beats Vuma, and we were just talking about how Bruce Vuma was celebrating. He does look really disappointed here that this has found the back of the net, the keeper.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a couple of moments here. First of all, the ball goes directly over him. Second of all, he's standing 1.5, maybe 2 meters off his line. So because the free kick is close to the box, that means that he's got even less time to react. So I would have had him standing a bit closer to his goal line, just to give him an extra split second to react. And if you see the shot again, when the ball goes directly over him, his foot is still planted on the ground. So it means that he's reacted late to the jump. So Mokoena has hit it quite hard. But as you see, it's gone directly over him. So if he was standing a little bit further back towards his goal line, and if he had jumped at the right time, I think he misjudges the speed of that. He probably could have done better, certainly.
I go the other way. A well-taken free kick. Great power, good placement, and inch-perfect technique.
What's the placement? Okay, let's just talk about that.
No.
Placement, that was dead center of the bali, boy. Center of the goal. Placement is a corner.
No, man, it kisses the underside of the crossbar.
Yeah.
And the power from Tebogo. Also give credit to Tebogo to say a well-taken set piece, boy.
Absolutely, he's hit that with absolute thunder.
Yeah.
But Matthew's also making other points to saying keeper could have done better.
Sometimes you must just say, well-taken, brilliant free kick, goalkeeper tried but couldn't get there.
And this is one of those moments for you?
That's one of those moments for me.
Unstoppable.
There
you go. And now we move on, because there's still more to talk about in this encounter. And I want us to focus now, because it has been mentioned here. The name Suarez came up in the Champions League, and Matthew highlighting him. However, how did the goal that Duba'S scores come about? Was cooked. It was cooked all week long. And Wandile Duba expresses this in the post-match interview and gives great clarity on how it was that they exploited a particular situation to their benefit at Kaizer Chiefs. Take a listen.
Because siyasonke Sundowns mnandi we build up, so silinda la moments njengegoli lami ushilo ukuthi i-left centre back habe no mistake kakhulu, so
Let's first identify the left centre-back that Duba is talking about. Who is he identifying?
Yeah, Suarez. And this particular moment was very sluggish from him. But he had listened to his coach's instructions by pressing in the correct manner. I find it's a great balance to have a right-footed centre-back and a left-footed centre-back It's great balance, but not in this instance when, first of all, the ball speed is too low from him, so that's a sluggish pass. But nevertheless, he's trying to play from his left foot into Mokoena'S right foot, and that's giving Duba an extra yard to be able to sneak that ball in, instead of getting it on his right foot and playing it into Mokoena'S left foot. That gives him an extra 2 yards. You see, that's completely wrong. I mean, that's a great press.
It's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah.
listen, the coach said, if he's going to play, make him play it on the outside. If we can force him inside, we've got him.
Yeah, but that's what you do with pressing traps. It's not only taking away space and time from the defender. It's that false sense of security for him to say, this boy is sleeping. He's closing me here. Tebogo is completely open on this side. So you let him fool you. In Suarez's head, he thinks, oh, Dubai is sleeping. I'm just going to slot that ball in here. And that's where the pressing trap is. As soon as the ball is played, he reacts the quickest, and he knows. And there's one thing that he said after the game, Dubai, he said, I had to push the ball a little bit too far ahead so that he does not make the tackle. And that was intelligent from the young man. Then he goes on to score goal number 6 in all competitions. Well taken.
So it's always fascinating to see that some things like that don't just happen because the player decided, but the coach has given an instruction and said, this is how it needs to be done, and we can exploit the situation. Now, the winning goal does come along here, and there are a lot of things to discuss here. Ace is going to be involved in this conversation, but this is a goal that Preez will remember for a very long time. Kaizer Chiefs fan will remember for a long time. But Matthew, there are probably ways that this could have been defended.
Yeah, first of all, I think it was a great moment when he made the changes. Taylor off, Mtetwa on, gave fresh legs in the midfield, and then he puts on George McClough as the 8, you know, instead of Sirino. And McClough ends up getting wide in this moment, you know, very energetic player, a lot of class. This was poor defending, I think, from Tiwane here with the header. Trying to knock that down in that moment was a mistake.
What should he have done?
He should have headed it
away
as far as possible, or he could have, he did actually have time to wait for it to land on his foot to clear it with a volley. But this is what McClough does here is everything. Even if this was offside, this ball is everything. This is very difficult to defend. The way he's whipped this ball in, and the fact that Preez has been able to get this on the half volley, as it hits, comes in at him very quickly, and it hits the ground just before him. This is a fantastic move, nevertheless.
I think we spoke earlier about respecting the zones on the field of play. Tiwana is not the place to be trying a smart header in this instance. Wrap your left foot around it, throw it to Rosette. In that moment, it's nearly 2 minutes of the game that is left. But for McClough to be able to bring in an inch-perfect cross like that, Preez scores the goal. But the cross from McClough, to be able to take it first time, with that's good technique. And the rest is the man has finished cooking.
The elephant in the room, though, is post-match. We saw Miguel Cardoso come with his cell phone saying, look, it's offside. He had the visual on his phone to the media to show that he feels that this goal was clearly offside and that VAR is an absolute requirement for situations like this to not occur. Which brings us to spot on the VAR, the man who's been cooking. Because what have you cooked on that situation? How are you going to explain it? And everybody wants to know, clarity, offside or not.
No, the key thing is that whatever you say in the post-match press conference is irrelevant. Doesn't change the result. Whatever we say here doesn't change the result. We just analyze the situation so that people can learn. The referees themselves, the fans, the coaches, everybody involved in football can learn what happened. All right? Now, I've seen so many lines being drawn all over the place, some of them squiggly and all of that. And we accept the drawing of lines. But on this show, we go further. We go distance. We measure the actual distance of the attacker at the moment that the ball is kicked towards him. What was the distance between the attacker and the goal line? What was the distance between the second last defender and the goal line? That's what we're going to show. Because if the attacker is closer to the goal line than the second last defender, then it's offside. So we need to get to that point. We can't be drawing lines and then discussing whether the lines are parallel or perpendicular. We need to measure the distance. And we have the pleasure here of having the instruments to measure such distances. It's a measuring.
You are going further than VAR.
No, we're going further than VAR. VAR only uses lines.
When I was on your tape.
Tina, what was the distance in meters?
Show us, because the build-up is nice, Mara, but it's the finish that's going to count.
Let's go to it.
Let's go.
And you know, we must have pity on the assistant referee, because as a football person, the assistant referee at that moment, look at him at the bottom of your screen. Any football person at that moment, when the ball is kicked, he's there. He's looking at it, and he expects that to be defended before that kick. Because there was a lot of possession by the defenders, and he expected it to be kicked out. Now, he's not in the correct position. That's where the actual offside lies in. And you can see what the assistant referee sees
is across the line at an angle.
Across the line that we are drawing.
At an angle.
At an angle. And what he sees is a striker in an onside position. That's what he sees. But now, the distance between the striker and the goal line is 10.4 meters. The distance between the defender and the goal line is 10.9 meters. Who is closer? The one who is 10.4 meters
50 centimeters, maths is simple.
You know, very simple mathematics.
Very simple.
The striker is closer to that goal line than the second last defender. And that's all that matters. The law is clear, Thomas. If the attacker is closer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last defender, that attacker is in an offside position. And if he gets involved in active play, then the flag must come up. We're keeping that line from the head of the assistant referee so that you can see why he was not able to pick it up.
It is a close decision, though. I
Very
know
close.
when you look at it in real time...
It is not as blatant as people are trying to make it out to be. The assistant referee is human. He was caught for pace. His football mind told him that the defenders would kick that ball out. So that's why he was just half a meter away from the offside line. That was offside, should have been picked up as an offside. It was not a legitimate goal. It was given as a goal, incorrectly so.
I see a tweet there that says that maybe the guys will get a chance to play Real Madrid. They're talking about Kaiser Chiefs there, so they're listening to you. Marva text. They're looking at some other fixtures a little bit later down the line. Now, there was a fight in the game, Ace, and this one needs your assessment as well, because I saw jerseys torn, and I saw a big decision that needed to be made by the referee, and I just wondered when it happened, how many cards? Because the incident happens along the line, and people are pushing and shoving everywhere, and he only gives one eventually.
No, look, in situations like that, as a referee, you make a decision. You pick your culprit.
But the culprits kept adding and adding and adding.
No, you pick your culprit. And there should have been more than one culprit. There should have been more than one culprit, because when that happened there, the culprit that ultimately receives the yellow card is a legitimate culprit, okay? But there should have been a culprit from the opposition as well. But you know...
Do all those pushes require a card?
No, not all of them, because some of those pushes, when you interpret them, you're saying they are pushing because they're trying to break up the fight. So as a referee, you pick your prisoner and you show the card. But for me, it's not even what happened there. Because you see, you've got to have a second culprit beyond the one that ultimately was shown the yellow card. Okay? The one that laid down there. But for me, the biggest problem is when a player whose jersey was pulled and the jersey had no problem. Now, because he wants to create a situation where he can point to the referee and say, you know what?
Yeah.
But
No.
okay, fine. No, I agree with you. That's why I'm saying that culprit should have received a yellow card as well. But
he made it worse.
Wenzani?
I need to find referee. But nami pega. No. I don't want to say what we say tabule, but not to that extent.
Yes. And then what did he do?
No, but now here's the case.
Yeah, that's not justifiable. That's not justifiable. That's why I'm saying the culprit should have been given a yellow as well. But what do we say of a player whose jersey is torn 1 centimeter and then he pulls it 20 centimeters?
Can I tell you
further?
what I see there? I see South American derby. Because the tricks were both sides there. You see the one that you pointed out there? But Sirino's trick was the push is here and then he does this and goes down, right? So already there's a bit of everything going on.
Both of them. That trickery is not going to win a game. All I'm saying is when the referee decided to show the yellow to the other side, he should have shown the yellow to the other side as well.
I just think it's close friends. They were close when they were still at Mamelodi Sundowns. But I think what I love about their passion is the friendship takes a back seat. It's about representing a club at that moment, and I saw that passion in both players.
From a tactical point of view, I felt that Cardoso, perhaps looking back, would have thought he made a bit of a mistake starting Obas and Mokoena. He very rarely does that. He normally plays with 1-6 and then 2-8s. So he just started with Allende in front. He changed it in the second half, but by that time, their passing accuracy in the attacking third ended up being 66%. And I think Martin Gele did an exceptional job, and then later on Mtetwa again in breaking down their attacking forays. But I thought he could have been business as usual by playing 1-6 and 2-8s.
We're going to a break. After the break, how did Orlando Pirates book their place in the semi-final of the Nedbank Cup?